This doesn't just look like PvP footage. This looks like friends genuinely having a blast. In just 7 minutes, Hytale showed more player expression than a lot of PvP games manage in hours. Also, real quick, I hope everybody had a great holiday season and a solid start to the new year. I know things have been quiet on the Hytale front, so seeing gameplay like this to kick things off felt really good. Now let's break down why this PvP showcase stood out, because there's a few details here that say a lot about how Hytale wants combat to feel. The first thing that immediately jumped out to me is how fluid weapon switching is. Players are swapping between swords, daggers, ranged weapons, sometimes mid-engagement, without it feeling clunky or locked behind long cooldowns. This tells me Hytale PvP isn't about picking one weapon, memorizing a rotation, or repeating it forever. It's about reacting. You see someone close the distance? Swap. Need crowd control? Swap. Want to push the advantage? Swap again. That kind of freedom is very sandbox coded, and it instantly makes fight feel dynamic instead of scripted. We also get to see special attacks across multiple weapon types. And this part is huge. Not because they're flashy, but because each weapon actually feels like it has a role and personality. Some specials are about area control, some are about mobility, some are about raw pressure. You're not just choosing a weapon for its stats, you're choosing how you want to engage. That's the kind of design that keeps PvP interesting long term, because skill expression comes from decisions, not just mechanical execution. One detail that flew under the radar for most people is armor durability. For what I see, dying costs about 10% durability. It's a consequence, but not a punishment spiral. This feels like a smart middle ground. It discourages reckless face rolling in PvP, but it doesn't turn death into something frustrating or grindy. You're encouraged to play well, not scared to participate. And that balance matters a lot in a sandbox PvP environment. Another quiet but massive detail, players can have up to 45 inventory slots. That's not accidental design. That tells me Hytale expects players to carry multiple weapons, carry utility items, experiment mid-fight, and most importantly, it minimizes time spent in menus and maximizes time spent playing. PvP flows better when you're thinking about the fight, not wrestling with your inventory. But honestly, the most important thing about this video isn't a system or a mechanic. It's the energy. People are laughing, they're reacting to moments, they're clearly not treating this like a sweaty test environment. This didn't look like people stress testing combat systems. It looked like people enjoying a game. And that's something you cannot fake. If PvP is fun at this stage, before mods, before custom servers, before wild community rule sets, that's a really good sign. This 7-minute PvP showcase did more for my confidence in Hytale than a dozen feature lists ever could. Fast weapon swapping, expressive combat, light consequences, tons of freedom, all wrapped in a vibe that just looks genuinely fun. If this same design philosophy carries over into co-op play, modded servers, and community PvP, Hytale could end up having something really special. Let me know what stood out to you in this video, and you can also take a look at this video that I made about why I think calling Hytale's cosmetics FOMO is wrong. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching.